Hello, my name is Rick. Welcome to my channel. For today's guitar lesson, I'm going to show you a guitar lick that is inspired by Steve Vai. And it goes like this. So, I don't know where I got this idea from other than Steve Vai, I should clarify. Meaning I don't know what song or what, but it just sounds very Steve Vai to me, kind of. So, funny thing, or a fun thing to do. So what you want to do is you want to start out in the 3rd fret of the low E, and then you're going to be going to the 5th fret on the A string. And not the entire lick, but most of it is intervals of fifths. So that's the unique kind of sound your ear's hearing. Those are all fifths, and then there's a 4th in there. By the way, I have 1 dot in 7 here. I'll explain. I was going to explain it in a different video, but I forgot. I'll tell you the story about that at the end of the video if you stick around. So hopefully you can follow here. I'll just go really slow, and I'm going to have tab on my website eventually, but still working on that. So yeah, the lick it's pretty straight ahead. It doesn't take that long to learn. 3rd fret on the low E. 5th fret on the A, just think power chord. And then it's like you're kind of joining together the fifths or the power chords. So your second note there was the 5th fret on the A string. Now your first note is the 5th fret on the A string. Then you go to the 7th fret on the D. So those two back to back. And then again, you're going to connect to this note, 7th fret on the D, switch to your first finger, 7th fret on the D, to 9 on the G. So those 3 would be. Then where you can guess what's going to happen next, that's where your first finger is going to go now. Reminds me of that crazy Steve Vai thing where he does this. I can't do it, but it's kind of interesting. So yeah, then you go, your first note is now the 9th fret on the G, 10th fret on the B. That's the interval of a 4th. So if in music theory terms, that's not a 5th, it's a 4th. Same idea, you're going to go to your first finger on that note, 10th fret on the B, 12th fret on the high E. So the whole thing slow. And then the next lick, it's, you could call it 2 licks or 1 lick, I suppose. But we're going to be starting here in the 7th fret, 7th fret on the A string. Go to the 9th fret on the D. Again, there's your power chord shape. Same idea. Switch to the index finger, 9th fret on the D, 11th fret on the G. So that would be. Then here's your 4th interval. So 11th fret on the G to the 12th fret on the B, and then followed up by 12th fret on the B, 14 on the high E. So that slow would be. So I'll play the whole thing slow for you again. And you can do some variations with it. You can mute it, sounds kind of cool. Oh, and I did a thing there too, another variation. So yeah, muting is kind of cool. But you can also vary up the pattern if you want to call it. So you could go here. We'll call that going up 3 things. I think thing is the technically correct term. So, those 2 notes, those 2 notes, those 2 notes, and then you go back to the second one of that 3. So you can keep that going. So So yeah, it's a cool, I don't know, just a cool sound. You can do other places too, but I think that's probably probably good for now. All right, so if you've, I was gonna say if you have stuck around till the end of the video here, I'll tell you the story behind my my one dot here. So this guitar, although I have a different logo on the headstock, I'll tell you that story some other time too. I've had 4 guitars made by Campbell American Guitarist out in the East Coast, made for me. I don't have one anymore, but I have 3 of the 4 still. They're the ones you've been seeing in these videos. So one's kind of a wood mahogany body. There's this one, and then, which is, I'll tell you about these guitars sometimes, kind of interesting story because they're, yeah, some tonal interesting things. But and then I have a white one, which is the single coil pickups. So the one I had built first was the mahogany one. That's also the one I used on my album Reconstruction, and it has no dots on the front. I just think it's kind of a cool look. Went for more kind of modern guitars. I love the classic look of, you know, Strats and Les Pauls and all that too, of course. But yeah, so I had no dots on there, and I was playing a gig, let's see, down in Rochester, Minnesota, at this place that I played for years. Yeah, tons and tons of times. Of course, in the previous times, I had dots on the front of my guitar. Anyway, what was happening is I was in the middle. I was doing original music of my own, and there was, you know, flashing lights, and I think even a strobe light at some point. And I would look down, and all of a sudden I had this gray area, like this blackout, like I didn't know what fret was going on, which is hilarious because, I mean, I do have dots, you know, on the side of my neck, yeah, on that guitar too, with the flashing lights and everything. And I think it's a funny thing in hindsight. I thought about, well, if you're down here and you've been playing for a while, the low frets, like I can, you know, without looking, yeah, I can kind of make my way around and yeah, usually. And up here you have a nice straight shot, so you can actually use the side dots quite well. Anyway, for some reason, maybe I'm the only one, but I had this weird gray area where I really wanted to see the dots on the neck there, and somewhere around maybe 6 to 10, it was just weird. So when I had this guitar built, which was the second one built by the same builder, Dean Campbell of Campbell American Guitars, I said, put 1 dot right here, just so I have a reference point, you know, because from 7, it's easy to think of, you know, 6 and 8 and 9 and whatnot. So, and I thought it was funny too. That's just, I guess, my dumb sense of humor is like little weird things where they shouldn't be. So that's the story behind the 1 dot. And then I think I did it on the one guitar that I don't have anymore. It was a semi-hollow body, beautiful guitar. Had a walnut top on it, but I just wasn't playing it as much, and it sounded a little too close to some of my other guitars. As a side note for anybody who's still interested, that one, it was a semi-hollow body guitar, 2 humbuckers, mahogany body with a walnut top. But I purposely had him build it a little bit smaller, not as big as like an ES335. And I think that was a mistake on my part. If it had gone bigger, 335, it would have had a fuller sound. So it sounded, oddly enough, too much like my 2 solid body guitars. As a little side note too, we can get into this in a video sometime, but scale length will affect your tone quite a bit too. And the scale length I have on these Campbells is longer, 25.5 inches. And so on that particular guitar, that walnut semi-hollow body, I had it's more like a Strat scale length, longer, and versus Gibson, which is, I always forget, 24 3/4 or 24 5/16, I think, something like that. And so that will affect your tone too. So if I were going to get a hollow body guitar again in the future, and I wanted a deep, fuller sound, more like an ES335, I would just buy a ES335, or, you know, maybe a Collings or something that's nice, that's in that style. So learning experience for me. It was a cool guitar. I mean, it definitely had a little different tone to it. It's just that it didn't sound dramatically different than my solid bodies. And if you want to know, I like this kind of contour and certain feel of just the contours, and that one just wasn't working for me, so I sold it. But fantastic builder. He makes amazing guitars, or made. They don't make them anymore, but. So that's the story behind the One Dot. So, all right, well, hope you have fun with the lick, and see you soon. Thanks.